Good morning, everyone. Good morning to our Saturday morning practice. We'll be spending the next hour and a half together in what I call the Bodymind Chi therapy session, a workshop, a bootcamp, or a retreat, and a sanctuary. Okay. And for those of you who are new here, we alternate from week to week. Last week was the breathing exercise, pranayama in Sanskrit, or tuna in Chinese. And so today we are alternating back into a ancient Qigong practice. Qi means life energy or breathing, depending on what level. And Gong just means the practice of. And there's no one Qigong. Any practice that enhances the life energy would be called Qigong. And so in particular, we're going to be practicing a technique probably 1600 years old, brought to us by a North Indian yogi by the name of Bodhidhama, and it's called Yi Jin Jing. Yi means to exchange, to renew, and then the last word Jing is very easy to translate, just means the treatise of, the methodology of, or the writing of. But the one in the middle is a little bit more difficult. There's one in the middle, Jing, most often is translated into tendon, as in muscles. Actually, there's another translation that is a little bit more accurate to the practice, and it's connective tissue. Almost precisely is the membrane. And when we talk about the meridians in the body, we're really talking about a communication channel. And the original communication channel in our existence is actually membrane, right? When the egg encounters the sperms, she has to choose, and she chooses by communicating with the candidates through the membrane. And from that, we develop a viable. And then after we were born, we continue to develop what is called the connective tissue or the membrane. And these connective tissue forms what we call the meridians. That's an abstraction by the Chinese. The North Indians actually call it nadis. The abstraction of the Chinese is according to the sun. And in ancient China, we don't have 24 hours. We actually have 12 time periods. Each one is 2 hours. So that kind of describes the 12 meridians. So we're going to save all that later when we actually do the practice. But in preparation, we're going to try to do some massage, finger tapping, acupressure, and then another technique called guasa. All of that is to clear these communication channel. These communication channel comes in what's called yin and yang. Yang is influenced by the sun. Yin is influenced by the absence of the sun. That actually came from our evolution. Back in the days when we first walked down from the trees, we seek shelter in the caves away from the sun. So the minute that we are under the sun, we're in danger. So the body evolved to protect us, to maximize our body, to confront the danger, what we now call fight or flight. So the yang is actually fight or flight, or what's called sympathetic. That's when the body releases stress hormone to get all the components working towards a single goal, but also to release a particular kind of stress hormone called cortisol. It's a steroid that allows the body to heal itself, to reduce and eliminate inflammation. And then when we're lucky enough to survive, then we come back to our cave. We're going from yang to yin, away from the sun. And that's what we now call rest and digest. Rest and digest, or parasympathetic. And that's the time when you're not supposed to have any stress hormone. You're not supposed to have light. We haven't invented fire yet. So we're in total darkness, but yet we are in a very comfort zone. So the body then heal itself, restore the harmony. Now what happened then is that in modern days, we don't get to do that. We talk about 24/7. We talk about multitasking, right? Our phone is right next to us, disturbing our magnetic presence. And often we can't go to sleep and we play with our phone until we get so tired that we fall asleep. And then we wake up again. So the modern illness basically is a result of us, humankind's, outrunning our evolution. And so what we're trying to do here once a week is to go back last week to where we were when we were first born, learning how to use the diaphragm to breathe, as opposed to using the muscle above the lung. And today we're going to do, that was what I call sufficient. That was what I call necessary, right? You got to do that to restore the harmony. Now, what we do today is sufficient, meaning that if we know how to restore the harmony, then we want to maximize our life energy, maximize our yang energy. Okay, all right, enough talking. So let's start with our therapy today, our boot camp today. Okay, so we're going to start working from the fingertips. We're going to work all the way to the toes, and then we're going to work on the top of the head and all the way to the bottom of the feet. Okay. All right. So we're going to start with the fingertips. Fingertips are the extremities. So we have the fingers as extremities. We have the toes extremities, the ears extremity, the top of the head extremity, the bottom of upper torso also extremity. These are the places where energy exchange. Now, when we talk about yin and yang, we're not really talking about energy that are confined in our physical presence. They are actually energy that are flowing from the universe. It just happens to be going through a body. So when we say yang, it's actually energy that flows out into the universe. And when we say yin, it's the energy that comes back. We are actually a being as much as we are human. That's something that we also forget, that we often focus on being. And we focus on being human, right? That we are better than anyone. We can change anything. We can. You can't change everything. You have to suffer the consequence, right? When our habitat is so exhausted that it warms up, if the ocean warms up, then it's not just a simple seasonal typhoon. It's really scary how back in the days when I was a kid, typhoon come and as soon as it hits the land, it just dies down and then it dissipates. Not anymore. Not anymore. When the typhoon comes, it picks up all the moisture from a warm ocean. It hits the shore. It gets even hotter because of all the concrete. So they just keep getting more and more rain. They're getting stronger. It's really scary. The whole Asia is flooded, and we even hear about how in Nepal, the whole glacier, the whole mountain. I've been there. I've been to Nepal. I would have been one of the 100 or 200 American tourists, not just me, but my wife and I and my son. We could have been there. We could have been there. We were there, seeing the glaciers, seeing the Himalayas, and well, when they start melting, that's a big problem. So that's the problem when we focus on human as opposed to being in harmony with our habitat, being in harmony with our neighbors, being in harmony within ourselves so that we can have physical health. Okay? All right. So we're all talking about being right now. Okay? So let's bring up our left hand, identify the fingertips. Let's bring out our right thumb. And we're going to massage the fingertips now. This is not just an exercise of the body. This is actually exercise of the mind. It's also exercise of the qi. Now we're going to go from the left hand to the right, meaning that the qi, the breath, or the life energy is in fact the bridge between your body and your mind. Now we're going to, we finished with the fingertip. Now we're going to work on the joints. So I want you to take your right thumb and just very gently, very mindfully massage each of the joints from the left to the center to the right, and then back to the center. And when you're done with one joint, you move to the next one. When you're done with one finger, you move to the other one. And all that is to prevent yourself from thinking about the past or to think about the future. And rather, we want you to think about the present. Enjoy the present. Enjoy the massage. Feel that if you that you're generating heat, you're generating sweat, you're generating pain even. Now we're going to go from the left hand to the right. Again, one joint at a time. And one of the things that I want you to know is that there is no such thing as multitasking. There's no such thing. Okay. I actually remember the word when the word was invented. Now we go from the right to, we go from the inside of the palm to the outside. And again, we start with the fingertips. And we start, this time, we take a thumb and an index finger. We put it across on the two corners of the nails and just kind of squeeze that one at a time. Now, as you learn more and more, you realize that the yin energy and the yang energy, one is inside, one is outside. And on the outside, very often they originated from the corner of the fingernail. Okay, now we're going to go from the fingertips to the joints once again. One joint at a time, one joint at a time. And you will find it actually it's quite comforting massaging your joints, right? Because as we age, one of the things that happens is that we have arthritis, and you usually start with the fingers. Arthritis is chronic inflammation. So is dementia. So is diabetes. So is high cholesterol. Okay, so now we're going to do one more thing, which is that we're going to massage the length of the finger. So I want you to take the thumb and just kind of massage the length of the finger from the inside to the outside. And now do the other side. Okay, so working on the fingers is very important. Now we're going to work on the back of the hand, same thing, and then just kind of massage between the joints. And massaging the fingers not only help the fingers, it actually helps the entire body. Because again, I call this the extremity. This is where the energy goes out, called yang. Energy comes back, called yin. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to work on the back side of the hand, which faces the sun. So these energy points in the backside of the hands are called the yang, and yang is actually life energy. So we think that qi is life energy, but actually it's the yang side of qi that is life energy. The yin side is restorative energy. Okay. All right. So now we're going to work on the life energy. The life energy actually goes all the way to the spine, right? So we think of the spine as the organ itself. No, the spine is not an organ. The spine is just a protective armor. What's inside is the organ, and what's inside is what we call marrow. Marrow is where the life happens. That's where we generate red blood cell. That's where we generate white blood cell. Both your life and your immunity happens in your spine. Okay, so I'm going to come back to the spine. Sitting properly and stretching the spine is very important. Okay, but I'll come to that. Now we're going to work on the backside of the arms, and so first we're going to work on in between the fingers. So the fingertips has a name, and in between also has a name. So you take your thumb, you use the edge of the thumb, and just kind of massage in between the fingers. Leave the thumb alone for a while. We'll come back to the thumb. The thumb deserves special attention. Now we're going to make a fist, and then we're going to put the thumb in between the knuckles. And now the back of the hand, you notice that each fingers are still individualized, so we're going to work in between the bones. Okay. Now same thing on the other side. First work in between the fingers, and then in between the knuckles, and then in the back of the hand, in between the bones. Okay. Now there are three very important energy points that are named, that are called yang. And one is called the pond of yang, one is called the valley of yang, and one is called the stream of yang. So by the name, you realize that that's the places where you would find life energy, right? In particular, this energy point in the back of your wrist, which is along an energy line called the triple warmer, which again, there's a different I prefer a different translation, but I'll come to that. Basically, it's in between your middle fingers and index finger. So you put your fingers slide until you get to the top of the wrist. And now if you move the wrist, there's a dimple. So you put your thumb on top of that. You push down with your thumb, not your fingernail. Push down with your thumb, and then maybe a massage a little bit. Now, this particular energy point is called the pond of yang. There are some energy points that are also named pond right here in the back of the neck, and there are others. And so the name suggested that there some it enhances your life energy, enhances your yang energy. In particular, if you find yourself, just lack of strength. There's any time that you do something, you don't get the energy to do it. That's one. The other one is that when you go to sleep, your feet are very cold, so cold that sometimes you wake up, not only you but your neighbor, right? That's how cold it is. So this energy point will help that. Okay. Now the other side goes all the way to the back of the wrist. Move your wrist around until you find a dimple. Push down and then massage. Okay. This is something you can do while you're watching TV, right? Okay. Now there's another two. The easiest one to find is on the bottom of the thumb. Okay, so right here. So you put your right thumb on that, and you make a C clamp, and you use your index finger on the other side, and you just kind of squeeze that. You see it? Squeeze. Okay. Now first find the one on the thumb, and then use the C clamp on the other side and squeeze. All right. So we left out the thumb. So now we're going to work on the thumb, and while we're at it, let's identify the index finger. This is the beginning at the corner, and then all the way down. This is the energy, the meridian that we name after the large intestine. So every once in a while, I mention how the 12 meridians actually is working in the clock, right? And it's very important that you go to sleep at 11 and stay sound to sleep from 11 to 1, and then from 1 to 3. Because those 4 hours is where your gallbladder and your liver is energy lines are active. So the liver doesn't generate blood, it's the marrow that generate blood. The liver is just to clean your blood, remove the toxins in the blood. So in that 4 hours, you better be sleeping and get yourself a nice 4-hour blood transfusion. Okay, now if you have to work at night, I get it. That's how, that's the reality. But if you don't have to work at night, I suggest that you go to sleep before 11, right? And at least get 4 hours of really, really good sleep. Now, a lot of people start to wake up around 3. And from 3 to 5, these are the monks, these are the venerables, right? In fact, they believe that this is a time that you can communicate with the devas in the sky. In fact, back in the days when Buddha was alive, he often will travel up and do his sermon in the sky. That's, if you believe in that, it's okay. If you don't believe in that, it's just a story. Now, I and other practitioners typically wake up between 5 and 7. And then some people, they take it easy a little bit. They enjoy life a little bit more. They wake up from 7 to 9. But if you wake up after 9 o'clock, it's not a good thing. Now, from 5 to 7 is when the large intestines is very active. And 7 to 9 is when the stomach intestines, the stomach meridians are very active. So that's why around that time you want to have your breakfast. You won't be standing up. And the stomach is a very strong yang meridian. So you want to be standing up, walking around while the sun is up. But somewhere between 5 to 7 is the large intestine. So you try to develop a habit of doing your thing, doing your thing in the bathroom around that time, right? You don't want that toxin to be your large intestines, and really you don't want to have constipation. That is really bad for you, because the intestines are not porous. So if you store toxins in that for too long, you actually absorb the toxins again. And so one of the things that I do is that whenever I get a chance, I massage this part of the index finger. I start with the corner of the fingernail, then I come back right below the knuckle. There's a dimple. I massage that. And then I massage the length of the index finger from inside out. This is yang energy, right? Inside out. So this is something you can do. And later on, we will start to do some scraping. You can even scrape that part. Okay? And some of you might say, oh, I don't have any problem with constipation. I manage to go to the bathroom whenever I need. Well, the problem is that you might be able to do that, but if it stay there for too long, and even if you can get it out every day, it might still be a day old. And so you try to. This is I believe in that. Okay, especially when you age, I believe in that. Okay, so let's do that. If you don't believe in it, it's okay too. Right? Massage the corner of the fingernail, massage right below the knuckle, and then scrape along. Okay, all right, all right. And now we come back to the thumb. We massage the thumb. Massage the thumb. And particularly we massage this part of the thumb. If you look at your thumb as a drumstick, this is actually a very important part. So we make a pincher using your thumb and your index finger, and you massage. And the other side, massage your thumb and pinch this. My experience with people who are Western educated, including myself, particularly those who work in the medical field, the nurses, the pharmacists, the doctors, so forth, it's really hard to have that conversation about how the body is not just a collection of components, that is actually energy. So yesterday I was in Oakland, and for business related to my meditation, I met two older gentlemen, and one is a pharmacist, and he has back problem, right? Huge, a lot of pain. And I said, oh, there's an energy point right here that if you push, you can relieve some pain in the back. He says, no way. How can you do this and help this? No way. Most people don't want to have that conversation, which is okay, which is okay. But then I also find that they start to appreciate it once they retire, and then they realize the limitation of the Western energy. So most of my students are people who retire, people are kind of, they have enough experience with Western medicine, understanding that they really just remove symptoms. They don't actually fix the problem. Hyperpressure is the one that I want to talk about. All right. Do you know that 90% of the people who suffer from hyperpressure, what's called hypertension, they suffer a form of hypertension called essential hypertension. Anybody knows what that means? Essential hypertension is they don't understand the reason for it. They don't know. They don't know why. So they give you high blood pressure medicine anyway. Okay, so we're done with that. We're done with that. Okay, so let's come back to this drumstick part and use a knuckle and make a drill and drill into that, and then drill into that. And then in the center of the palm, there's another energy point, very important, and drill into that. And then now let's tip the palm together. This is the only energy point that generates energy. So here's why we call it a healing hand, right? When you heal someone, you want to have that positive energy in you. And when you heal yourself also. Now, you put your right palm on top of the left hand, you squeeze your fingers together, and you massage the fingers nice and warm, nice and warm. So I remember back in the day, a year or two ago, a student wrote to me after class, and he says, I suffer from these fingers problem. Every winter, my fingers, go blue, and sometimes there are a few times, and your toes go blue, and there are times when his body gets cold. There are times I even have to go into emergency. I said, well, I know that's because your chi is not circulating, and so these finger exercises would help that. Right? Okay, all right. So now we're ready to do more finger exercise, and this is a very famous Qigong. And so first we're going to come back to sit properly, understanding that what's inside your spine is really the source of all your not only life energy, but your immunity. Okay, so I want you to focus now on the very bottom of your spine. I want you to learn to stretch the spine, and I want you to walk up the spine slowly, one joint at a time, towards the top of the head, and stretch the spine as if you're hanging the spine on the ceiling. Stretch it as hard as you can. And then I want you to lean back. As you lean back, you relax. putting the weight of your upper torso on your spine and not using your back muscle. And I want you to lift up your shoulder all the way up to the top of the ear and then open that. Open that. And then relax. Now, the two are very important. The two combination, stretching your spine and opening your shoulders, is very important. So I talk about the philosophy of the traditional Chinese, from the traditional Chinese medicine perspective, is that they think of, it's actually not just medicine. This is how they think, is that everything is in these five elements. The five elements are the water, the vegetation, the sun, the mineral, or the soil, and then the mineral. And there is a synergistic relationship, and then there is a sort of restraining relationship, right? And so the easiest to understand is that water enhances vegetation, vegetation enhances fire, fire enhances the soil, soil enhances the mineral, and then mineral adds life back to the water. So they think of everything in five elements. They think of the internal organs in these five elements. They even think of the music in five elements. So that's why ancient musics are very different. It's just in five sounds, right? And so the liver energy is considered to be water. That is your source of life. The lung energy is the mineral that adds life to the water. So when you stretch your spine, you're enhancing your water element. And then when you open your shoulder, you're adding mineral into your water and giving life to the water. Okay, so these two are actually very important for longevity. Let's try it again. Let's locate the bottom of the spine. Let's walk up the spine towards the top of the head. Stretch your spine one joint at a time as if we're hanging the spine on the ceiling. Let's lean back, putting the weight of the upper torso on the spine, and relax. Now let's focus on the shoulder. Lift up a shoulder, bring it as high as you can, all the way up until as if you bring it to your ear. Now open that shoulder as far back as you can, as if you're squeezing a tennis ball in the back, and then relax the shoulder. Relax the upper torso. Okay? All right, so once we do all that, we're going to continue with the finger exercise. I want you to lift up your hand. If you can, it's good to just close your eye. Then you're not getting distracted. But even though I'm closing my eye, I can still visualize my fingers. So I'm going to take my thumb and my index fingers, put them together, and then I'm going to squeeze as hard as I can. Now I'm going to take my thumb and the middle finger, and I'm going to squeeze as hard as I can. And then I'm going to take my thumb and the ring finger and squeeze as hard as we can. And then with the little fingers and squeeze as hard as we can. Now I'm going to bring my thumb into the middle of the index finger and squeeze as hard as I can. Middle of the middle finger, middle of the ring finger, squeeze. Middle of the small fingers. That's it. Put it down. We're going to now move to the second exercise, understanding that our evolution has to do with our brain, right? We all know that, right? The brain, we have more brain than any other species. That's because we were the first to use our fingers. We were the first to know how to use the thumb, break a branch off the tree, hold it as a weapon, and walk down from the tree. That's our ancestor. So fingers and brain, left brain and right brain, very important to prevent deterioration of a neurological system. So we're going to once again lift up a shoulder, stretch your spine towards the ceiling, open the shoulder, lean back, and then relax. Now we're going to bring up a right hand, and which means that we're using the left brain, and we're going to close these fingers one at a time. First the thumb, then two fingers, now the index and the small fingers. We're going to put down the right thumb, bring up the left hand. We're going to close these fingers one at a time. Thumb, two fingers, index, little fingers. Bring up the fist and squeeze as hard as we can. Leave the right fist behind. Leave the right fist. And then we're going to open these fingers one at a time, but in reverse order. Little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. Left hand, little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. We're going to stretch these fingers as hard as we can, and then say to ourselves, now we're ready for the second time. Thumb, two fingers, index, little fingers. Right, left hand, thumb, two fingers, index, little fingers. Squeeze as hard as we can. Open the right fist. Little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. Left hand, little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. Stretch as hard as we can. Now say to yourself, this is the one more time. Thumb, two fingers, index, little fingers. Left hand, thumb, two fingers, index, little fingers. Squeeze as hard as we can. Open up the right hand. Little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. Left hand, little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. And then we're going to stretch as hard as we can. Now sit up straight. Put the palms together, the fingers together. Push, and then lift up your elbow. Now keep the center of the palm and the fingers together. We're going to lower the fingers, put some pressure on the wrists. And then we're going to come back and we're going to start doing tapping. Now, understanding that tapping means where we're setting up a vibration. Everything that we do here is basically setting up a vibration. So we're going to stretch our fingers because we want to feel the vibration. We're going to put the fingers tip together and we're going to pay attention. So we count as we go. We're going to tap 30 times. Get ready. Go. And just like the beginning, we go from the fingertips to what's between the fingers. And we're going to tap that 30 times. Okay, now we're going to tap two very important energy points in the center of inside the palm, and then we're going to do the same on the back. The first two, one is on the small fingers and one is on the thumb. So we're going to form a V, and we're going to tap, right? The flesh against the flesh. Get ready, go. Now we're going to do the same thing on the thumb, flesh against flesh. Get ready, go. Now we're going to move from the yin side away from the sun to the yang side, facing the sun. And on the edge is a very important energy point. So first we're going to sit up straight. We're going to fold a palm so we see this line and right at the edge of the palm. So we're going to fold a palm flat, roll up the fingers, tap that 30 times. Okay, now this is the small intestine. Notice that the small intestines are harder together. And there's two hearts. There's the pericardium, which is what's outside the heart. Inside the heart is hollow, right? So there's only the outside. So what else? Well, this heart actually is closer to the mind, right? Closer to your brain. And so you notice that they put the brain or the mind and the small intestine together, telling you that your intestine is actually your second brain. Your intestinal health is as important as everything else to your neurological health. They've proven that. They've proven the linkage between your intestinal health and people who have Parkinson, right? So be careful what you eat. Be careful what you eat. You eat for probiotics, okay? But you don't buy the pill called probiotic. Those are not. Those, no one will sell you bacteria, right? Those has been killed. So they're actually what's called post-probiotic. And what you really want is pre-probiotic, right? The things that are water-soluble fiber, and then also, like avocado, right? Actually, I'm gonna do a video because someone's who's a distributor for sardines want me to try her sardines. She's selling a whole bunch of them on Amazon. And it's actually from Morocco. And I said, okay, that's fine. I grew up in Macau, so I know sardines, and the sardines I know are from Portugal, but that's just across the strait from Morocco. I'll try it. Sardine is really important for your intestinal health. Right? It's got omega-3. It's got olive oil. Okay, and it's a small fish, so not much heavy metal. Okay, and you can put it on sourdough bread with avocado, with eggs that are raised properly. That's a good meal. Okay, my water. Well, okay. All right. So let's get to work. So what else? Okay. So now we're gonna do this part, huh? Do this part. We're gonna do this part. Okay. All right. So scraping is very important. It's clearing the channel, clearing the energy, right? Now, we work on both the inside yin and the outside. Inside, there's three. One in the middle is one we name after the pericardium. So you take your scraping tool, right? Whatever you have, you can buy it from Amazon. And guasa is the name, if you just want to look it up, or just scraping, they know. And I want you to take your tool and scrape from the elbow to the wrist, okay? Scrape. Now, that's the pericardium. So we move all the way to the top, which is the bone. We back down, and that's the lung. Again, from the elbow to the wrist. And now we're going to scrape the bone. And then the outside of the bone is the large intestine, right? The one that goes all the way to the index finger, remember? And then the middle, the triple warmer, is very important. And again, it's to me, it's a mistranslation again, and it's really triple membrane, not triple warmer. Now, the back of the hand, the little fingers, right? The little fingers. And middle, the bone, inside the bone, and right here. And then also this one. Now, this energy point is the, how do I translate? It's the gate of spirit. Okay. Now, this is very well known. For some reason they appear on Instagram, and people really this help you sleep, or at least improve the quality of your sleep. And then all the way to the elbow. Okay, now the other side, quickly. And you do as needed. You do as needed, right? When you feel some pain, one of the things that happens when you practice here is that you become much more sensitive to your body and your breath, right? Your breath is actually an indicator that you're in a bad mood. When you get angry, when you get despair, your breath is trying to tell you that. And if you're sensitive to your breath, then you know not to fall into that trap. Your breath is telling you, come on back, come on back. And your body is also, when you feel, um, okay, all right. I'm sure you all have that experience when you're not feeling right, and you go to the doctor and you're trying to explain to them what you're feeling. They say, well, that's just part of being old. And the reason that they do that is that the reason they ignore you or they're not listening to you, most doctors are very good at not listening anyway, is that they don't have a pill for it. They open the catalog and there's no pill for what you're describing, so they can't do anything, right? So in this case, when you get in our case, when you are more sensitive to your body, and you know what it should feel like before you go to sleep. If it doesn't feel like that, I would just scrape. This is what I do. I just scrape, clear my energy channel, and then the correlation is that I sleep much better. So I'm very sensitive to that, right? And so now we continue. Notice that we're working little by little from fingertips. Now we're to the shoulder and also here. So if you have carpal tunnel, This is a good one. Scraping also help carpal tunnel, right? And what you're trying to do is you're trying to help your body, heal your body before it gets catastrophic, right? Some people come to me and say, oh, I hurt so much that my doctor said they're going to inject steroid because the pain is so painful. It's very hard to help people at that time. I'm not a doctor, right? Okay, so now this exercise is also very good if you have finger pain, wrist pain, elbow pain, or upper arm pain, right? Very classic carpal tunnel. So sit up straight, right? Point your fingers towards the camera, roll up your four fingers, lock it with your thumb, and then wind up your four fingers, but lock it down with your thumb. Again, get ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10. Okay? Now open your shoulder. We continue. And then this one is very good if you have a Hosen shoulder. Okay? Open your shoulder. Sit up straight. Relax your shoulder. Take your fingers. We form what's called the lotus hand. We take our thumb and our middle fingers and we stretch out the other three. We put our lotus hand in front of our shoulder. There's energy behind called the gate to the cloud. We open that once more. Sit up straight, back of the hand facing the camera. Now it's very important that mind, body are together. Okay, get ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay? All right. Now we keep moving, huh? We keep moving towards the top of the head. So this is a very important part. This back of the neck is the yang energy, and there's an energy line that comes up. There's actually three very important ones. One in the middle is what's called the guardian vessel. That's basically your spine, where all the yang energy comes up. There's also a part that is named after the gallbladder, and so I want you to look straight ahead, take your thumb, and then just reach down on both sides of the neck until you find this cavity. This is called the pan again, the pan of wind. So I want you to massage that, and you're going to feel some stress here, maybe some pain. Massage that, and then put your thumb into it, not using your fingernail. Lean back so you put some counter pressure, and push down as if you're squeezing a water hose, and then relax. Now, keep in mind that when you do this for someone else, you do one side at a time because you don't know how much strength you have. Right? This is very, these are where the arteries are. So you take your right hand, you put that on your left side, you push down with your four fingers, then you grab your left side of the neck and you pull it to the right as if you're opening a channel. Now the other side, push down and move it to the left. Okay, now you lift up your ear. There's another energy point here, also named after the wind. And by the way, this is the beginning of your vagus nerve. And then you go across, massaging essentially the vagus nerve. Okay, now the other side. And then a massage across, telling yourself to relax, whispering to yourself. And then bring down your top of the ear, massage. And now go from here towards the window pond, and you'll be on top of the skull. And then on the other side, same thing, on top of the skull. Now I want you to come back and use your thumb to massage the corner, and then move towards the cavity here, but stop in the middle. And now try to massage that point. This is a very important energy point to help you sleep. You realize there's a lot of stress there, right? Now come back and then just kind of squeeze your neck, squeeze the middle, and then squeeze the back. Okay? And then use this part of your thumb, massage the right and massage the left. And then if you want to, you can squeeze some more. And sometimes you have so much stress in your neck, you can even take your right hand, put that on the left side, use your left hand, put that on the right side, and just kind of pull it like on the opposite side. Bend your neck a little bit, okay? And so much stress here. Okay, So now I want you to learn to massage the left and the right. So I want you to look straight ahead, turn your head to the right, look down, and then there's a tendon here. So I want you to scrape, look straight ahead, turn to the left, look down. There's another one here, scrape, and then look straight ahead, and then look up and scrape. This is where the your limbic systems are. And then right here. Now I want you to learn to massage your shoulder, and then first find this cavity. Massage. And then there's another one here. Massage. And then one here. And then one here. And then one here. And then massage. Okay? And then the right side. Massage. This is called the well on the shoulder. Massage. 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 And then massage. And then on the shoulder. So this form of massage is often called fascia massage, that you're not dealing with the physical parts, but you're dealing in these cavities, and also you feel like in between the muscle, you work on in between the muscle, right? So it's a very different idea of massage, that you're just clearing your channel, okay? All right, come to the face, learn how to massage your face. Okay, first we're gonna do an exercise of energizing our center of the palm. Okay, so I'm going to put a palm together, mind, body together. Now, mind, body together. What is mind, body together? How do you say that word? It's called yoga. Actually, the Sanskrit word is called yuja, Y-U-J-I, and it's mind, body together. It's that yoke that you put in front of the oxen as they pull the cart. Mind, body together. Right? Okay, now you take your left hand, you form a cavity. This is called the empty hand. You put that in front of your left eye. You take the other one, you put that in front of your right eye. You sit up straight, you open your eyes, and you should see only darkness. But if there's any light, you move until you don't see any darkness. Okay, get ready. First time. This is healing yourself. Put the eye. Second time. Put that on your eye. One last time. Open your eyes, okay? Open your eyes. And put that in your eye. Okay, so now we're going to massage the face from the forehead down on both sides of the nose, outside of the nose, on top, in between your nose and your lip, on the corner of your eye, right below your chin. Come back. And then now massage the side of your face. And then put the center of your palm on the temple. Massage that. And now use two fingers. Put that in between your eyebrow. There's an energy point there. A lot of stress. Now use your index fingers and just kind of massage the beginning of the eyebrow. And then move on top of the eyebrow. And then all the way up here. Massage. And then now use your index finger. You feel some corners in here. So just kind of massage that. Massage that, okay? All right. And now massage the face again. Massage the forehead. Massage the brain that is responsible for your cognitive function to the top of the head. The back of the is the one responsible for all your memory. You go a little further down. That's the part responsible for all your motor function. And then the neck. And then top of the ear. Come back to the face and the nose. Okay, now we're going to learn to massage the eyes, okay? So you take your index finger, you put that at the corner of the eyebrow, you sit up straight, you push down. You're doing acupressure. Now there's two more energy points, so you put your index fingers in between your eyebrow and you imagine yourself squeezing a toothpaste, massaging those energy points, but also opening up the oil tubes so you don't get dry eye, okay? Now you take your thumb, you put that at the corner of your eye, and you just kind of gently massage below the eye bag from the corner to the tail. Same thing on the other side. Now we're going to do some eye yoga, right? And so usually when you say yoga, in addition to the meaning, which is mind, body together, you think of stretching, right? Well, we're doing yoga because we're stretching. What are we stretching? We're stretching what's behind the eyes. And so we take our index fingers, put that in the corner, we close our eye. Now we're going to do some stretching, but what we're stretching is behind the eyeball. So we're going to turn up our eyeball looking at the ceiling. We're going to turn to the right, stretching the muscle in the back or tendon. And then we're going to look down and we're going to look to the left and we're going to come back to the top. Now we're going to do this clockwise. So we focus on top of the head, looking straight up, to the right, down, left, up, right, down, left, up, right, down, left, up. Now we're going to go the other way, up, left, down, right, up, left, down, right, up, left, down, right. Open your eyes. That's called the right eye. Okay, now we're going to take two fingers and just kind of massage down to corner eye and come back. And second time. And then one last time. Two dogs. I have two dogs downstairs and one cat up here. The cat will stay, but the two dogs will stay only for one more week. So maybe next Saturday you won't hear anything except the cat. Sometimes the cat walks in the back. I don't even know that, except when I watch the video. All right, so now we're going to learn to massage right below the eye bag, push down, do some acupressure, and we're going to come down. You feel the bone. Right below the bone, you push in, you push up, and then you go. Okay, take a deep breath. Massage here, massage here, massage here. Now we're going to come to the ear. So first massage the top, below, and then below. And then the tip, yank, the edge, and then the ear loop. Now leave the thumb behind the ear loop. Take your index finger, massage right outside the opening of your ear canal, and then go up and down. And then now massage the back of the ear all the way down. And then two fingers, and then massage one finger on the skull, one on the ear, all the way down. Same thing on the other side. And then on the top, all the way down. Okay, now we're going to do one more thing called drumming. And we're going to close the ear and go 1, 2, and 3. Okay, all right. So now we're ready to do some tapping from the top of the head all the way down. So I don't have that much time left. So we're going to tap the top of the head, which is very important. And I told this story many times, right? Back in the days when my father was still alive, he was suffering from dementia. And every day I would go and I would tap. And it helps, temporarily restore his memory. But, right, that's what it is. Okay, so lift up your shoulder, open your shoulder, lean back, and then relax. Okay, now focus on your forehead, lean back your forehead, and then tuck in your chin. So this energy point, this 100 meter is now on top of your spine, facing the heaven. Now we take 10 fingers, put it on top, or take your fingers. My daughter remind me that don't say 10 fingers, just say fingers. Not everybody have 10 fingers. Some of them have more. Okay, just I'm not politically correct, okay? Just not how I grew up. Okay, get ready, go. Okay, now we're going to skip to these 8 longevity cavities, 4 on the upper torso, 4 below, okay? So we now get to this point. This is the heart meridian. It's very important, okay? Now, we need to stretch this part of the muscle. So when we do Yi Jin Jing, you notice that one of the part is about the muscle is right here. Okay, so now we take our elbow, put that on top of the head. So we're stretching this, right? Now we pinch the upper part of the right ear. We turn our head to the right. We take our right hand, form empty hand, put that on the armpit. Listen, okay? Now, we're playing instruments. So listen. Get ready? Go. Continue. Okay, now the other side, take your elbow, put that on top, look straight ahead, pinch the left ear, look to the left hand, empty hand, put that on the right, listen with the right ear, get ready, go. Continue. Okay, now to the elbow. Remember now, there are 8 cavities, okay? Now lock your elbow, take your right hand, wrap it around. So your fingers on top, palm on the side, 3 energy points. These has to do with your lung and your heart. Okay, now lift up, turn your head to the right, get ready, go. Continue. And then now the other side. Lock it. Left hand, right ear. Get ready. Go. Continue. Okay, so we're going to quickly move from the upper torso to the lower part of the body. And we spend a whole hour on the upper torso, just a very little time on the lower, but then we make it up with the Yi Jin Jing exercise, okay? All right. So the meridians in the lower part of the body has to do with our metabolics, whereas the upper part of the body has to do with our lung and the heart, which works together, right? Putting oxygens into your bloodstream. And the lower part is really more about your digestion, your detoxification, all that. And so I'll separate into 3 pairs. There's a splint, which is yin, and then paired with the stomach, that's yang. So there's a very important energy point right here. And so first we're going to identify the knee. We measure 3 fingers on the inside. You push it with your thumb, a little bit sore. Okay, so this is called the sea of blood. And it's a gallbladder, and it's a splint energy. And so take your fist, soft fist, get ready, go. Okay, now, and then we're going to work on the stomach. This is a very important part. Okay, so now we come to the knee. Find that little 2 dimple here. Measure 4 fingers, and then right here, and then on the outside. Okay, get ready. This is a very important energy point. Get ready. It's help you with digestion. Get ready. Go. Now, if you measure another 4 fingers, again, identify the bone, and it's on the outside. And this one is famous for lowering your cholesterol, right? Your cholesterol is just your blood vessel inflaming. Get ready? Go. Okay, so that's 1 pair. The second pair has to do with your liver and your gallbladder. So in the middle, get ready? Go. And then now close your knee. It's on the outside. So identify 2 energy points, separate into 3 sections. These 2 are famous for reducing your chance of having a stroke. Get ready? Go. Second one. Okay, so now that's above the knee. Below the knee, if you take your fingers, you go up, you can't go anymore. It's right here. Now this one actually improve your immunity. Get ready? Go. And then go all the way to the middle. Get ready? This one helps with your eyesight. And then go all the way down to the angle, measure 4 fingers up. This one is called a hanging bell. Get ready? You feel the tingling on your toes. Get ready? Go. Okay, so now we come to the toes. Just like we started with the fingers, now we come to the toes. So first I want you to open up the big toe and the second toe and massage here. This is where the livers are, liver energies are. People who are angry have a circular relationship. If you're angry, it hurts your liver energy. If your liver energy is weak, you tend to have very hot temper. I noticed that. And now massage the second one. Okay, this is the stomach. And these two. Now, do a little bit of acupressure here, do a little bit of acupressure here, and then do a little bit of acupressure right before they join. Now, you take your feet, you flip it upside down, you bend back the toe, there's another tendon, and you scrape that. This is another longevity calf. And then scrape the bottom of your feet, scrape the ball area, scrape the heel. Very important, scrape the arch. The arch in the beginning is your splint. That's your soil element. That's your cradle of life. In the back is your water element. That's your source of life. Okay? And then behind the ankle and in between the ankle and the Achilles heel, scrape that. And then locate 4 fingers up behind the bone, scrape that. And then scrape the entirety of inside of your leg. And then now come back to the ball area. Right below is what we call gushing springs. So massage that with your right hand using this area. We're going to tap this 30 times. You bend back your toes, review this cavity. You take your right hand to center your palm. This is fire. This is water. This is called mixing water and fire. Get ready? Go. Continue. Okay, now quickly to the right. Massage in between the big toes and the second toe. Massage the next one. Do acupressure here, acupressure here, acupressure here. Okay, now scrape, bend back the toes, scrape the tendon, scrape the bottom of your feet, the ball area, the heel, and the arch. Okay, scrape behind the ankle. Measure 4 fingers, scrape behind the bone, scrape the entirety below the bone. Come back, massage the center of your palm. Using your center of your palm, massage the bottom of your feet. Bend back your toes forward with an empty hand 30 times. Get ready. Go. Continue. Okay. So not a lot of time left, but I think we have enough. Okay, so now we're ready to do the Yi Jin Jing exercise, right? So Yi Jin Jing is more energetic, and whereas the Tu Na, the breathing exercise, more restorative, right? The two are very important. But before we do that, we gotta finish with the 8 cavities. Remember, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now to this one, 5 and 6. Now get ready, bend your knee, hands in the back. Get ready, go. Continue. And then finally, right here, right? This is actually a source of life right here, right? We tend to think of this area mainly for reproduction. Well, you're reproducing every 200 days. So this is how important it is. So just kind of massage this like bottleneck area for all the yin and yin energy that comes up, all your metabolic energy. Okay, now we're going to tap that 30 times by using a fist. So make a fist and just kind of fit it in here. Get ready? Go. Okay, now we're going to do the Yi Jin Jing. Okay, now Yi Jin Jing is a very important longevity exercise. I mentioned that it's a live energy. It's very focused on promoting your yang energy, right? And you need that. You need that as you age. When you die, definition of dying is not because your heart stopped or your brain stopped. The definition of dying is when you exhausted all your yang energy. No more life. Okay, so we want to make sure that we enhance it as much as we do while we're aging. And so this is a very important longevity exercise. So first we start at the bottom of our feet where we just tap. You make sure that you're firmly on the ground. It's called a gushing spring. It's as if the energy from the universe, particularly from our planet Earth, is coming up. Okay, and when we say energy, we're really talking about magnetic energy, right? Everything that we talk about, all the 5 elements, they're the planets in our universe, they all have a molten core, right? The moon does not have a molten core. We don't talk about the energy from the moon. It's really just gravitational energy. So Earth has energy, and you want to make sure that you're in total contact with it. Then you turn your toes inward. You lower your knee slightly, loosening up your knee, activating your second heart so that energy comes up. Then you open your shoulder and then relax. Align the well with the spring. Then you lean back your forehead, you tuck in your chin, align the top of the head, the 100 feet where all the yang energy come together and go to the universe. So you see that you are like the center of the universe now. Then you take the palm and you bend your wrist so that the palm is facing down. You move it back slightly. Now, the first form movement is called spirit boosting palm. Your spirit is your neurological health. So we're basically sending a shock wave up the spine to the top of the head. Now, so that's why the posture is very important. If you dip down your head, it's not going to work. If you go like this, it's not going to work. So make sure you follow what I said. You bring your hand back. Now, it's very important that you focus on the center of your palm. So you close your eye and you visualize the center of your palm. Where your hand goes, your eye goes. And once you're focusing the center of your palm, visualizing the center of the palm, where the eye goes, your mind goes. And it's only mind, body together, focusing on the center of the palm that you push. Where the mind goes, the chi goes. Okay, ready? Go. Now, back to the breath. We got to go from yang to yin. We got to go from fight or flight back to the rest and digest. How do you do that? You relax. You put the tip of the tongue behind the teeth, where the teeth meets your roof of your mouth. And you focus entirely on your breath. No random thoughts, no thinking about the past, no thinking about the future. Just think about your breath. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. That's one breath. Let's try second one. Now, after that, then you come back. It's very important that you maintain that harmony between your yin and yang. Open your shoulder, focus on the center of your palm. Get ready. And then back to the breath. Now, the way I do it, in order to stay completely focused and with 100% of my presence, is that I follow my breath. So when I say get ready, I'm actually focusing on my breath. I'm breathing in, and then I'm breathing out. And then that space is when I focus and push. Okay, now try that. It seems very complicated. It just needs practice. Now, get ready, go. And then back to the breath. The second one is called pointing. You take your thumb, you point it to your hip. You raise your hand, you form a semicircle. You don't touch. You just roll up your four fingers, and then you imagine someone hang 2 buckets of water on your thumb, and you lift it up. And this is about the large intestine. This is about detox, removing toxins. And then relax without lowering your hand. Focusing on your breath. After 2 breaths, second time. And then relax one more without lowering your hand. Back to your breath. Only on your breath. And then one last time. And this time we're going to drop a hand, completely relax, focusing on the breath. Put the tip of the tongue behind the teeth and feel the inside of your mouth. Okay? The reason why it's so important to feel the inside of your mouth is that when you're in fight or flight, your body shuts off your salivary gland. And so when you want to make sure that you're returning to the rest and digest, you want to feel the inside of your mouth, okay? There's something you can do when you think that you're relaxing. Check to see if the salivary gland is reactivated, okay? Now, the third movement is called beginner's mind. You lift up your hand, you put your thumb across, you roll up your 4 fingers, and you squeeze your fist, and then relax. The reason why it's called beginner's mind is that's what the baby does. The baby does that inside the mother's womb to energize himself, to create his existence. Second time, and then relax. Don't lower your hand. Lift up your hand. And then one last time, squeeze as hard as you can. And this time, we completely relax. Check the inside of your mouth. Put the tip of the tongue behind the teeth. Feel the inside of your mouth. The next one, we put a fist together. We put that in front of a belly button. We lift up a fist. We take a deep breath in. And then we relax. And then we bring our elbows in. We focus on the back. The back is where the large intestinal meridians are. And you stretch the back open. And then relax. Focusing on your breath. Second time, stretch the back and then relax. One last time, stretch the back and then relax. The next one's called fists above the head. We open the shoulder, we open the fingers, we roll up the fingers, one joint at a time, we lock it with the fist, thumb, and then we squeeze as hard as we can, fighting with our heart, right? So we were doing stretching, now we're doing cardio. And then relax, open your fingers. We're fighting with our heart. Second time, Increase. Push as hard as you can, and then relax. After 2 breaths, one more time, open your shoulder, roll up your fist, and squeeze. And then relax. The next one is called stabbing the shoulder. So you stab with the dagger. So you hold a dagger, you open your shoulder, you point the dagger onto your shoulder, you lift up your head, and you stab. You feel the tightness behind your neck. And then you go, relax. Let the chi flow to the top of the head. 1 breath, 2 breaths. Now open again. Stab. Don't look down. Don't look down. Just straighten up your neck and then relax. 1 breath at a time. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing. One more time. Open your shoulders, stab. And then relax. This one is called the cross. Now, be sure that you don't try to punch. You really imagine there are 2 trees and you're going to push the tree as if you're pushing the tree, pushing down the tree, okay? So you first make a cross, you rotate your wrists, and then you make a fist. As you make a fist, you take a deep breath in, you hold your breath, and you push. And then go, bang. Okay, we're stretching the triple warmer. Second time, lift up your hand, roll your wrist, make a fist, take a deep breath in, hold your breath, and push. One last time. This is so important that we do it twice. So this is called the front hanging. Lock your elbow as if you're hanging close on your arm. You see the tree in front, wrist, fist, breath, hold it, and push. Second time. One last time. Okay, now we're going to do a pull up the muscle. You look up, you see the bar, you grab the bar, you pull yourself up as you follow the pole, and then relax. This is muscle time, right? You notice that there are 4 elements in here: stretching, cardio, muscle, and balance. Very important. Second time, look up, follow, and then relax. One last time. Pull yourself up, and then relax. Okay, now I used to call this ripping the yellow page. Once again, my daughter says, Dad, nobody knows what the yellow page is. So now I just call it ripping, opening the bow and arrow. You grab a bow on one side, you grab one bow on the other side, and you open. And then relax. One second time. Again, it's about the muscle. And then relax. One last time. And then relax. Now this is called swallowing. You swallow the chi into your dantian, but also you collect all your saliva. Kind of remind yourself that if you don't have any saliva, you're doing it wrong. Swallow. All the way down. Now there's one more, and it requires that you check your knee, check your toes, and then straighten up your back of the hand touching, and you lower your body. Make sure that you're not locking your knee all the way down until you lock your elbow. Your head is down, looking down. Your back of the hand is touching. You squeeze your fist one time, relax. After 2 breaths, squeeze, second time, and then relax. One last time, and then relax. Now, make sure all this time your knee is not locked. You flip your hand, you follow the center of your palm, you take a deep breath in, very steady, very mindfully, and then you take a deep breath out using your empty hand, and then you take a deep breath in, you point your palm forward, you lower your knee, you see this big rock in front of you, and you just push. And then you take a deep breath in, and then you take a deep breath out. Completely relax. Okay, now we're going to meditate. And we're going to meditate on the chi. So we say, well, what does that mean? Well, you feel some sensations in your body. You feel like there are things kind of bouncing up and down all the way around. Well, that's because you energize all 12 meridians and the two primary vessels, right? You did what you're supposed to do. And so now what we want to do is we want to collect all that into what's called a Dan Ten. Ten is the field, Dan is the fire. So basically what we're asking you to do is collect all that using the diaphragm. Coordinate that with the breath. It's very complicated. Huh? Well, just do it. So I'm going to sit up straight, stretch my spine as if I'm hanging my spine on the ceiling. I lean back, relax. I open my shoulder. I relax. I check my forehead. I tuck in my chin. I relax my eyelid. I close my eye just like the baby, but I don't need to shut it. Just relax. And then I put the tip of my tongue right behind here, just gently. And then now I focus on my breath. I anchor my mind on my belly button. More precisely, it's about 1 finger below my belly button, an energy point called the Sea of Qi. The Chinese believe that your belly button, the remnant of your umbilical cord, is where you receive your physical material from your mom. But right below that, the Sea of Qi is where you restore the energy from your mom. So focus on your breath and just say to yourself, I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. As you breathe in, point your Sea of Qi forward, pointing your belly button forward. Relax your stomach. As you breathe out, you close your stomach, collapse your stomach, bringing the Sea of Qi as if you're bringing the Sea of Qi all the way to the back. At the bottom of your spine, there's an energy point there called the door of life. So you imagine what the baby is doing inside the mother's womb. She's very smart. She collects all the nourishing energy from her mom, and she brings it all the way back to the door of life, where she creates the life energy developing the spine, right? We'll come to the spine in a minute. So for now, just focusing on the belly button as you breathe out, bringing the belly button back. And as you breathe in, relaxing the stomach, pointing the belly button forward. It's easier for me to talk about the belly button, right? But then you understand that it's really about 2 energy points. One is called the Sea of Qi, and one is called the door of life. One is in front, one is in the back. One is along what is called incubation? Or is it called something else? I forgot. But the back is called the guardian vessel. The back is your yang, the front is the yin. Now, there's actually 2 more energy points. If I want to get a little bit more precise, it's in your lower back. And so if you could move your hip forward and lean back your upper torso, you feel a little bit of stress on both sides where the kidneys are. So you actually are working on 4 energy points, 1 in the front, 1 in the back, 2 on the side. The 2 on the side, 1 is yin, 1 is yang. Your kidneys are not identical. Not identical in size and not identical in position. Not symmetrical in position. So 1 is yin, 1 is yang. I don't know which one is which. And so you're working on 4 energy points, 2 yin, 2 yang. Okay, so this first one is about collecting your qi into your dantian. Now we're going to move to the next step, which is about separating the qi into yin and yang. The yang energy travels on your spine, and the yin energy comes back to your belly button. So I want you to focus on the bottom of your spine, that energy point that I call the door of life. As you breathe in, I want you to move from that to the top of the head, stretch your spine slightly. And then when you come down, I want you to come down from the top of the head to your forehead, to your nose, through your tongue, back to the belly button. As you come down, you lean back and relax. As you breathe in, travel from your spine all the way to the top, stretch your upper torso slightly. As you move out, breathe out, lean back and relax. So, the Chinese has been practicing this longevity exercise for thousands of years. And little do they know that this is actually about restoring the harmony between the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nerve. That when you breathe in, you travel up, you enter into the sympathetic mode, the fight or flight, and your body heals itself by releasing stress hormone called natural steroid. And then when you breathe out, you lean back and you relax, you come back from the channel in the front, is when you enter into rest and digest. And you're restoring the sensitivity to the steroid. Healing modern people's problem, which starts with that unbalance. And so the reason why modern people who are trying so hard to outlive their evolution, they develop chronic inflammation. And another way of explaining chronic inflammation is cortisol resistance. You have too much, not too little. Right? So this is actually a very important exercise. You breathe in, you stretch, you breathe out, relax and lean back. And try not to have any thought at all. Try to focus on only what you're doing now, which is breathing in and breathing out. Anything that happened in the past is just a memory. It already happened. It's just in the memory. Anything that hasn't happened, it's just in your imagination. It hasn't happened yet. Breathing in, stretch, and then breathing out. Okay, let's sit for 3 minutes, and then we've been together an hour and a half now. Okay. Okay, 3 minutes, huh? Okay, now before we leave, I'm going to tell you a stupid joke. I was a professor once, and so I have all these stupid jokes. And the nice thing about being a professor is that you hardly ever see the student twice, so you can tell the same stupid joke over and over again, and it was okay. So the joke is that a guy just died. He arrived at Peter's Gate, and the angel says, "Well, let me look up." He says, "Oh, you had some bad deeds in your life. Too bad. You're going to hell." And the guy said, "No, no, 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 no. I don't belong there." He says, "Well, I'm sorry. It's just my job. I'm not making. It's not personal." And the guy says, "Well, show me what hell looks like first." So he brought him into this room. There's a long table full of food, lots of food, really good food. Appetizer, main course, second plate, dessert, espresso. Ooh, amazing. And the guy says, "That's hell?" And the angel says, "Yeah, look at the people who are dining. Ooh, they have all these utensils, the fork, the knife, the spoon, and they're very, very long. So they can't really eat any of the food by themselves. So instead, they're fighting each other, taking the spoon, bang on each other's skin, bang here, and bang here." And the angel said, "That's hell." And the guy says, "Show me what heaven looks like." So the angel brought him to another room. It looked exactly like the first room. Food, good food, appetizer and dessert. Same thing. Spoons, knives, fork, very long. And the guy says, "But that looks just like hell." And the angel says, "But look at the people. The people were feeding each other with these long utensils." I'm very grateful that I get to live in a country where, for the most part, we're helping each other. Yeah, we can complain all day about the head of the government and all that, but the people that work in the field, the doctors, the nurses, the ambulance drivers, the delivery guy, the guy who works in the counter in Trader Joe, whatever, for the most part, we're helping each other. As you go around the world, as you see disasters happening in front of you on the TV screen, you feel really bad for the people who die in Nepal. I mean, hundreds of people die in Nepal, thousands of people are missing. And that's on the Nepal side, where the news is available. On the Tibet side, we know nothing. So you can imagine what natural disasters do. Now, is it really a natural disasters? Global warming is not natural disasters. Building dams in the foothill of the Himalayas to generate electricity for yourself and ignoring what would happen to your neighbor, that's not natural disasters. Not able to clear the lakes after earthquakes so that they store lots of water in a very dangerous spot, so when the avalanche comes, those water goes down. That's not natural disasters. These things you can do to help yourself. But in a country like Nepal, where I've been to, it's very poor. It's very corrupt. So it's very hard to do the right thing to help yourself. In Japan, it's a different story. Japan is full of natural disasters. If it's not earthquake, it's tsunami. If it's not tsunami, it's mudslide. It's full of disasters. And you know what they do when a natural disaster occurs? All the merchants lower their prices all at once. Some of them even just put out food for free. I'm not saying that they are a model, but these are people who are helping themselves, and so are we. So I believe I live in heaven. I believe I live in heaven because I'm so proud of us helping each other. I'm so grateful. And with that, I'm willing to share. I share my knowledge. I share my time. I share my positive energy. So I want you to think about this. Think about all the natural disasters happening around us. Fortunately, they're distance from us, but yet energy is energy. I want you to think about all the positive energy that we accumulated today by working together. I want you to think about how you might want to share that energy with those who are suffering, those who endure negative energy and animosity every day, those who endure spiritual suffering every day, those who endure physical suffering every day. I want you to think about them and using your gratitude to bless them. May all beings be free from negative energy, from animosity. May all beings be free from physical suffering. May all beings be free from spiritual suffering. May all beings be protected by loving kindness, by compassion, by empathy, and by equanimity. May my light meet your light. Namaste. Have a wonderful week. May you all be blessed with good health, with happiness, and most important of all, with peace. Namaste. OK， OK， 我哋星期一見吓，多謝大家支持。OK， 拜拜。